The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to a late edition of the Phixated podcast. I am your host, Mike Azzalina, 4 days later than intended, joined by my gracious and patient buddy Regz. I appreciate you pushing it off and coming on today with me.
Hey, we always are there for each other. That's what this is all about.
So here's the situation. We're gonna record on Thursday. Regzy had a long day, so texted me, was like, "Hey, do you mind if we do it on Friday night? Still get our preview in of the Seahawks game, can talk about the Cowboys, had a couple other things we wanted to talk about." It's like, yeah, absolutely, no problem. Woke up on Friday and couldn't move. So have COVID. I am much better today than I have been the last couple of days. So each night we were like, oh, we'll push it back till Saturday, push it back till Sunday. But each night I fall asleep because of how tired this thing has made me. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it tomorrow afternoon when I'm wide awake. And here we are. Reg's taking time out of his day to do this with me. Thanks, buddy.
Always happy to do it. I'm glad you're feeling better. Yeah, but like you said, did start with me. I had been at work from like 7 to then we had a happy hour, and it was like 8 o'clock by the time I got home, and it was just like, I'm not. I like you. I went right to sleep. I took a shower and I went to bed.
But we've like done that before where, one of us is like, hey, long day. Can we record tomorrow? And we've always been able to record the next day.
Yeah.
However, my immune system was not able to fight off.
I was late
COVID.
a day. I was late a day for your immune system.
I mean, listen, I wasn't feeling great on Thursday. There was a sense of relief in me when you texted me and said that you that we couldn't do it, because I was like, man, I just don't feel 100%. And I hadn't been feeling well for like, I wasn't really feeling well when I saw you on Sunday at the book signing. I was kind of feeling tired and just sort of run down. I just thought it was, being on the road for so many days. But turns out I think I was starting to catch a little bit of the cove.
Fun,
as some would say. Yeah.
As you were shaking, shaking hands and kissing babies that whole day.
Yeah, which is just great, by the way. No, but there were a lot of people who actually ended up sick from that day. So either I got it there or I was the trigger.
You were the spreader. You were the super spreader.
I mean, I was the
bringing
person
it back from Wichita.
That was the person most people talk to. So we are going to make this just an Eagles-centered recording. I think we actually got lucky, Regz, because some big news dropped.
I was going to say, it kind of worked out.
Over the weekend. I mean, not that we wouldn't have jumped on last night and done like an emergency podcast, but the Eagles do play tonight. We're going to spend a little bit of time on the preview. We're not going to talk about last week. Look, they're coming off of 2 horrific losses. I think there are plenty of explanations for why, especially the why last week. I think there's really good explanations for why what happened last week happened. But this week, kind of coming into the week, a lot of weird things, right? Like we saw the videos of them falling and practicing not fumbling. We saw them get padded up, so they lose a padded practice now. Like usually Sirianni, I'm assuming he's hoping they won't need one in week 18 because they used an extra padded practice to get to this game in Seattle. We find out on Saturday that Jalen is sick, but likely to play. And then yesterday it's released that Jalen wouldn't be traveling with the team because he is that sick and that he's, hoping to play.
Yeah, well, let's clarify. He traveled separately from the team. He still went to Seattle. I think some people might hear didn't travel with the team, as in he's still in Philadelphia. Yeah. He actually did go to Seattle, just on a separate plane.
Yeah,
to avoid
masked
getting
with his, I'm assuming his girlfriend.
Yeah, to avoid getting anyone else sick. But I think it was the news that he felt worse waking up on Sunday.
Yeah.
Than he did on Saturday, which had us all like, well, crap.
Look, if he's got the flu, or COVID or what it may be. And just like, again, I eat like crap, Rex. Like, I eat terribly. I'm not on this regimen that he's on, right? Um, if COVID kicked my butt for a day and a half, and the only lingering effect that I have from it right now is just being exhausted, I feel like Jalen's probably gonna be fine and able to play tonight. I know we all react differently.
Yeah.
I get it. But I feel like, the fact that he's traveling, you wouldn't put him on a plane for 6 hours.
Right.
If there was if it was a less than 50% chance that he wasn't going to play.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sort of my mindset there. I think Jalen will be out there tonight. I think, he'll at least give it a shot.
Right.
And if it's not going well, then certainly, they'll make the change that they have to make. So that news comes out, and I don't know, maybe an hour later, just this random, droppage, I think they called it, that Sean Desai would no longer be on the sideline or the defensive coordinator. Very just subtle. Still in the organization, but not the defense coordinator. He's going to be in the booth. And Matt Patricia will be the calling plays on the sidelines. And I don't know like what my initial reaction was. I think I was like, wait a second, is this like me sleeping and I don't know it? Is it a dream? What's going on? And sure enough, it's reality. So leave it to the Eagles to have a situation where we all panic about Jalen Hurts maybe not playing in perhaps the biggest game of the season right now. But that gets overshadowed by the slight change, in quotes, of defensive coordinator in week 15.
Yeah.
Regz, I knew your reaction, but tell the people.
It's just you're looking around like, what's going on? I sent you that gif of like the Dumb and Dumber thing, like our pets' heads are falling off. Like, just what are we? This is my reaction, so I'm having it live again.
Well, like and then on top of it, no Zach Cunningham, no Cam Jurgens, no Darius Slay.
And Darius Slay is out, knee surgery.
Like
all of a sudden,
the knee surgery. Yeah, well, cool. we're gonna have to talk a little bit about that.
Also, cool.
Yeah,
sweet. And then it also started with you sending me that tweet that Byard had said that he was like they were taking more responsibility themselves of the scouting.
Yeah, totally
and all
forgot
this.
about that.
So it started weird with like the Byard thing and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden it comes out that, right, like you said, Desai's going to be in the booth up top. He's not going to be calling the plays. At that point, he was still defensive coordinator. Then Glazer drops that they did make the change officially, like defensive coordinator wise. And I think ultimately the team came out and said, we have not changed titles, just who is calling the plays. So essentially Patricia has the responsibilities, but not the title. Desai has essentially lost his title because he has no responsibilities. It comes out again that he wasn't even like sitting in meetings this week or things like that. Another thing comes out that they wanted, like, they're trying to get him to resign so they don't have to pay him the rest of his 4-year contract. Like all these very weird, not eagle-y things. Like that just sound like a team that is running around panicking. Like truly panicking. And it makes me very uneasy because I don't think Matt Patricia's a good coach. And I get it, like when you're towards the bottom, what's the difference of being a little bit more towards the bottom? So in that sense, okay. But it's just, I texted you this. I don't know what better options they had. At least Matt Patricia like has called a defense before in NFL games. So if you don't have anyone else on the staff who has done that, you kind of just default to somebody who at least knows how to do that. But he's not a good coach. Like he's not a good defensive coordinator. I think the Philly special guys were talking about this because they recorded an emergency pod for all this. And Sheil Kapadia was talking about how he's had like bottom 5 defenses everywhere he's been that didn't have Bill Belichick as like the defensive guru. So cool. Feel great about what's going on.
I love Shil Kapadia. I do. I loved him when he was with the Athletic. Like I still have a great amount of respect for Shil. But when we say other places he hasn't been, or whether he hasn't been with Bill Belichick, we're talking about the Lions.
Where else was he? Was he somewhere? Didn't he go somewhere after that as a defense coordinator?
No, he went back to New England.
Oh, that's right, to be an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he went back to New England.
He was terrible at. But
well,
that,
yeah,
I don't blame him for that.
No. But like, all right, I just like, if you go back, and I'd even let you look at that roster, the roster that he had in Detroit. There are 3 names on that defensive roster depth chart that I knew, and one of them was Darius Slay. Like they weren't good teams. So listen, Shil Kapadia, Chris Long. Let me read what Chris Long said about him. When asked about who actually played for the guy. I think it's a smart contingency plan, which I think it was all along. Putting him on this coaching staff felt like a contingency plan when it happened. From the
beginning, yeah.
And now it's coming to fruition. When I saw Matt in Philly this summer, I didn't think about it. I'm sure there was a what if, and he's a pretty good what if. I liked him in New England. We gave up around 16 a game, and we weren't the most talented. He does say down Slay on Monday, I worry. But like, he also had really good defenses there that were top 10 in points allowed per game. So, you know, the Eagles really struggle there. Here's his ranks from 2012 to 2017 in points per game. 9th, 10th, 8th, 10th, 1st, 5th. Taking over an Eagles defense that's 23rd in points per game allowed right now. Right? Their biggest issues are play calling on 3rd down. Like, they just don't get off the field on 3rd down. And I don't care who it's against. You got to find a way to get off the field in 3rd down.
And they have the worst sack rate on 3rd down.
Right. So, look, is he perfect? No. Is he going to be the defensive coordinator for forever now? This is probably like a let's see what you got, Matt, type of situation. If not, they're going to be back out there looking for one next year. They're not signing him to a contract. Look, Regz, it can't get worse than what it is right now. It can't. They just played 2 of the most now, the second half of the Dallas game, some will point to and say, wow, they were so much better. I tend to say that if McCarthy wanted to score, they would have scored.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that McCarthy felt like they had to score. At one point, Regz, they gave up points on 10 consecutive drives over 2 games. They weren't getting off the field on 3rd and 16. They were in 3rd and 1s constantly. So I heard something the other day. The Cowboys had 28 first and 10s. 28. Do you know how many times they got first downs on 1st and 10?
4. I'm right down the middle. Half.
No, 1.
Oh.
They all came on 2nd and 3rd downs.
Yeah.
Like, that's Regz, that's bad. Like, when you get a team to 3rd down and most of their first downs are coming on 3rd down, there's a problem. Like, I'm actually relieved that the Eagles weren't just going to do the whole, well, we're 10-3 and that's okay. Like, the teams that, and let's not pretend that they didn't give up 31 to the Bills or 34 to the Bills. Like, the Eagles got torched in that Bills game.
Yeah.
It's just because Jalen,
right.
Yeah, Jalen played his ass off and they got that miracle field goal from Jake. That's a near loss because the defense couldn't get a stop on 3rd down. Right? We won't even talk about the Niners game. That was a disaster. And I know we were missing guys, we had injuries. I get that. But there was no scheme to protect from those injuries. You can go look, they did a great job against Miami. A great job against Miami. They schemed the crap out of that game. I don't know what the difference was, Regz.
Yeah.
But Sam Howell has torched us twice. That guy does nothing against the. They pulled him yesterday.
Literally nothing.
He got pulled yesterday against the Rams. And then, you know, that first Dallas game when you had, like, it's just, I don't know, man. Like, I'm at a point where, is it perfect? No. Am I upset about it? No. Like, I'm kind of, all right, well, look, if this doesn't work, if they don't get better, and look, they're not going to be a top 10 defense in the league now. We know that.
Yeah.
They don't have the personnel to be that.
Right.
But if this defense starts to come around a little bit and they start playing better, then and they jump themselves into the like 20s before the playoffs, or, you know, the teens and before the play, they should dominate these teams that they're about to play.
Yeah.
They should. Especially if Smith's not playing tonight. They should absolutely dominate. I know who they have at receiver, but the line stinks and the quarterback stinks.
Yeah. It sounds like half the battle is just getting the players back. That sounds like this was a large part of it.
Yeah.
That I think
did you see McLean's report about they liked him, but they didn't sense confidence in him?
Yes, I did see that. And I think if this, because I do think that plays a big part in this. I don't think they do this. If the players were truly happy with him and they were like they were just like, look, we just really got to focus on these couple things, and maybe it was taking him a little while to either scheme up for it or come up with solutions to fix it, whatever it might be, you probably still give him a little bit of a leash because it's his first year doing it, you know, all that. But it really does sound like the players weren't on his side.
Yeah.
Just about his ability to call defenses during the game.
Yeah.
And you have to, like, with a group that is dealing with a lot of injuries and isn't playing great, at the very least, they have to have confidence in what's getting called.
Right.
So when you put it in that, again, we're not losing some wonderkin defensive coordinator. Like, we gave it a shot. Doesn't seem like he was up for it. Maybe he'll get a chance somewhere else, and he will be. Who knows? But we weren't like, this wasn't, you know, Mike McCarthy or, you know, Sean McVay, like, coming up as this, like, offensive genius, you know, and we're kind of kicking him to the curb after 13, 14 games.
Yeah.
They had to do something to get the players back. If this is what they had to do to let the players feel confident in what was going on, then they needed to do it, because they're not going to play well if they like feel like they don't have a chance from when the call comes in.
Yeah.
So it was just weird. It was weird. It didn't feel good to like have everyone looking like your team's pressing the panic button at 10-3 and all this is going on. But if you had to do it to keep the players happy, to give the players a little bit of confidence when they really need it, you know, then you do what you have to do.
Yeah, I think a couple of things that jumped out at me is this team didn't believe in him. And the first being what you mentioned earlier with the Kevin Byard thing. You know, Byard came out after the news broke that the secondary did their own scouting and said, well, no, this is a practice that other teams, you know, that we've done on I've literally never heard this. Like, look, if it's something that teams do where they allow their players to scout for themselves, there's probably a limit to which that happens. But Desai wasn't even in the meetings.
Yeah.
When they talked about it. So that gives you pause. I actually texted you that immediately when this all went down. I was like, this is not a good sign for Sean Desai.
Yeah.
This is like a blatant slap in the face to Sean Desai. That the players are doing, you know, this and went to him about it. Now, it does show that they like him and that they felt he was approachable in a way, but like it also shows that I just look at it from like a principal lens. If a teacher were to come to me and be like, hey, Mike, I really thought it'd be a good idea if like one of my colleagues did my observation this year instead of you. Like, I mean, look, there were times where people would say, do you care if so-and-so comes and watches me to give me feedback before you come in and do your observation, right? Like that would happen. But like if someone were to come to me and be like, hey, instead of you, which wasn't legal, still it would say, it would probably speak about me more than not, right? The other thing that jumped at me, and I don't know if you'll remember this. Do you remember Josh Sweat's interview after the Dallas game last week?
A little bit.
Where he kind of went off about we're just not getting sacks. I've never experienced this before. I've never experienced this before. I've never experienced this. Like he was so flustered and frustrated.
Yeah.
That I just like again, I don't think they're being schemed correctly. Like there was a play on 3rd and I believe it was 8 or 9 against Dallas that I watched on the All 22. I've watched the All 22 probably more than I've ever watched it because I've been in bed. And there was a play where again, 3rd and 8 or 9 and basically what he does is he rushes 4, but one of the dudes he rushes is Nick Morrow. And he drops Hassan Reddick into coverage. And then like 3 seconds go by, Dak's just standing there. And then Hassan loops back around to rush. And by that point, the ball's out. What is Hassan Reddick paid to do? Rush the passer. If you're dropping Hassan Reddick into coverage on 3rd and long, that's a huge issue. Like that's like a schematic. There's no call for that. So I think, when players are voicing frustration without voicing frustration, and then you've got 2 veterans that have been around this team for over a decade, Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox. Now I listened to the PHLY podcast with Bo Wolf and Zach Berman, and they have Fletcher on every week.
Yeah.
And Fletcher did a great job of like not blaming, Desai and basically saying like, look, he can only scheme, but it's hard to scheme 3rd and 1. It's hard to scheme 2nd and 1. You're right, but it's not hard to scheme 1st and 10. So that 2nd and 4, their teams are just getting chunks at this point.
Well, yeah, in Buffalo, I think anytime it was 3rd and 7 or more, they got every first down when we played them. So
yes. So we can
You're
make
right.
that excuse in the short.
I think we would be okay if they were giving up more 3rd and 1s. That's not the case is they're giving up 3rd and anything.
Yeah. But like these guys know when someone's not meant to do it. Like these guys know that. Think back to it was right towards the end of Andy's career, his tenure here in Philly, when he hired Juan Castillo, who was the offensive line coach, to be the defensive coordinator. Juan lasted 2 seasons. Sometimes, we all knew that up front he wasn't meant to do it. It just was proven for us.
Yeah.
But like those guys have been around it before, they know. And I'm sure that this move wasn't just like, oh, it's happening. I'm sure there were players involved in the conversation in some capacity, or maybe brought up the conversation. Hey, look, we've got Matt. It was the contingency plan. It's why he's here. Like, at least there's some trust there in the sense of, again, like all I heard about him was that he was liked by players in New England. I know he had his thing with Slay, but look, we're seeing this side of Darius Slay. We've seen it before. He's not always easy to kind of like harness. And when you come from the Bill Belichick way, right? Like, I don't think Darius Slay would do well with Bill Belichick. If you're out on your podcast and your team just got whooped up on, and you're going to come out and say, well, I played well. I didn't tell you what, Regz. I think they're going to have 2 new corners after this season. I can tell you that right now.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, we just signed him to a lot of money, both of them.
You know me and worrying about money when it comes to Howie. I don't regret that.
Yeah. I think it just ultimately comes down to they didn't have the most talented group really outside of the defensive line.
Yeah.
Their corners showed their age. We thought we could get maybe another year or 2 out of them. It doesn't appear to be that way. You just see how slow they are out there compared to some of the much better defenses. If this was something that had to be done to keep the players' minds in it, then I get it. Like, you still have to, like, with Dallas losing to Buffalo, like, you have this division now. You have a much easier path to it. You just have to go beat the teams that you should beat.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, it's really hard to do that when the entire group is not confident in what they're doing. Right. So you had to, like, do it now because it's really important to win out and win these games because you now can wrap up the division.
Yeah, and honestly, at this point, when I look at what Dallas has left and what beat them last night, there's at least one more loss sitting on the schedule.
Yeah.
Like there's absolutely one more loss sitting on the schedule. They go to Miami next week, and that means 2 running backs with a lot of talent.
Mm-hmm.
In Acne, is it Acne? Because he didn't play against us. We didn't get to hear his name.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But
I don't know if I've ever actually heard anybody say it. I just read it.
That's
tweets.
What. Are you gonna look up the thing? Are you gonna look up his pronunciation? Because I feel like I want to know.
I can try.
All right. Well, you do that. But they got to deal with both he and I'm drawing a blank on their other running back who we did shut down. But we also And then the following week they got David Montgomery. Now this is in Dallas. Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And Gibbs has shown that he's a freaking lightning bolt. So, you know, those are 4 really talented running backs, and the blueprint is now out on Dallas. This game, look, I want to win this game to get right tonight. But even a loss tonight doesn't kill the Eagles. At least in terms of the division. It probably kills all hopes of the 1 seed, but not the division. I do want to see them win tonight, don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to put that out there as like, if they lose tonight, we don't stress the division, because as long as we beat the Giants twice, we're fine. We're fine. Because I do believe Dallas has one more loss in them after this one. I think either Miami or the Lions get them.
A-Chan.
So it's A-Chan.
That's how you pronounce it.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was Achni. Okay, so it's A-Chan. Got it. Okay. Well, they're going to be a challenge, and I think Tyreek Hill didn't play yesterday, so he could play against Dallas.
It seems like he is going to.
Yeah, so that's going to be a tough game for them, because they don't play well when they're not in that controlled environment on that turf. Like, they just against good teams. Like, I know what the Eagles game turned into, but the Eagles had a double-digit lead with like 7 minutes left. Like, it just turned into what it turned into, because the Eagles gave them 70 yards in penalties on the last drive. All right, so let me tell you why else I'm not worried about them, Regz. I'm going to go back to the schedule thing. The gauntlet of gauntlets. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Niners aren't a good football team. I told you before we started recording that I think they're the best team in the NFL. And I don't think there's any question about that. Roster-wise, they're constructed perfectly. They've got an incredible head coach who knows how to scheme, and a quarterback who knows how to carry out the scheme. Their running back is the MVP of the league, in my opinion. That dude is unbelievable. And their defense is insane. Do I think the Eagles can beat them? Yup. I do. I think the Eagles were coming off a game in which they played overtime. Their defense played over 100 snaps, and that exhaustion showed. It showed. Regz, they've only played 2 1:00 games this year. All of their games have been 4:30 games or primetime games.
Yeah.
And I was listening to a former player talk about like the toll that takes. Ryan Clark was talking about. And there's a toll that takes on you, because there's no consistency. Like, there's no consistency when you play that type of a schedule. He's like, I played for the Steelers. Like, we always, like, that was a thing for us. We were playing primetime games constantly. And we would run into this part of our schedule where we would just, it would happen.
Yeah.
The Dallas loss to me was a result of the thing that's supposed to be really good, the offense. Their 3 best players made 3 huge mistakes. That's 21 points right there. Not to mention the drop on the 2-yard line by AJ. That's 28 points. And then the drop by Devontae, which turned into a turnover on downs. Actually, you know what? Sorry. Let me redo that. 24 points on the AJ drop because they kicked a field goal. 31 points on the Devontae drop because they went 4 and out. So they left 31 points on the table, Riggs. Against the Giant or against the Niners, they 6-0 versus 14-0. And if there's either one of their two sides of the ball that I think can get right, it's the offensive side. The Eagles were built to outscore teams.
Yeah.
They were built to get ahead. They were built to dominate from out front and then let the defense pin their ears back. That's when they get their sacks. The offense hasn't done that. And I think the offense is also exhausted. Again, they played a ton of snaps in that Buffalo game. It was a physical game. So there's a lot of me that's just not that worried about this team. Like, look, I know what the playoffs can bring. It could bring them a matchup with both the Cowboys and the Niners if they get the 1 seed.
Yeah. That's
terrifying. It could give them, you know, a matchup with the Rams. I texted you last night. I want nothing to do with the Rams in the postseason. I don't want to have to deal with that offense.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford's a veteran who could come in here and just, you know, screw the noise. I've been in this before. We already showed we can't cover Cooper Kupp, although they did better in the second half against Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
But all this being said, I think that, you know, the way that they lost those 2 games is why people are losing their minds. But I also think the way that they lost those 2 games, there's reasoning behind that. And these aren't excuses. They're facts. Like, these are things that can actually take a toll on you. Playing 100 snaps and then playing a team who had 10 days off will show itself in the game. It will. And then, you get to come back the next week after getting your butts kicked, travel across the country, and that team had 10 days off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those things matter. Now, look, they had 7 full days, and they still had to travel across the country. But one thing that I think is important in terms of the 2 seed winning the division right now, the 2 seed, is if they win tonight, they're in basically the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Like, they are in great shape if they win tonight. And if Dallas loses next week, they're in tremendous shape. They really only have to win like 1 more game at that point if they beat the Giants then. And they don't have to get on a plane until the NFC title game if they get there.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Because they'll take a train or a bus to New York when they play there.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have to get on a plane. So, Regz, I don't know. If they can win tonight and then lock this division, like, there's rest that's waiting for them as they get to like week 18.
Yeah.
Because if you get to week 18 and you know that you're locked into that 2 seed,
right.
I think even if you can get the 1 seed, there are dudes that I'd give blows to.
Oh yeah.
Like, I would not put Jason Kelce out there. He'd play 1 snap so he could keep his consecutive starts there.
I wouldn't put Davis or Carter out there. Give Sweat and Reddick rest, like everybody.
Yeah, I wouldn't even care if I had a chance to get the 1 seed at that point. If you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
But like, I try and give some guys some blows in case you don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have Jalen out there.
Nope.
Let Marcus play that game. Like, if you have, like, give them the opportunity. Like, Lane should not be out there.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't put the corners out there. I'd let the young kids play.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like, just win these games now. Show that you can get right. And go win in the playoffs. Like, you're still, to me, one of the best 4 or 5 teams in the NFL right now. I think it's the Niners are far and beyond the best in the NFL. I never count out the Chiefs because of number 15. I refuse to do it. Refuse to. I think the Bills are now in that conversation. They're unbelievable. I think the Ravens are in that conversation. Us and the Cowboys. There are 6 teams that can win a Super Bowl, unless you get freaking red hot. And I think that's it. And I think the Cowboys, if they have to go on the road, drop out of that top 4. Because I just think they're not good when they leave the confines of that fun little dome they get to play in. So, I don't know, man. That's pretty much it. So why don't we just get to what we think about tonight?
Yeah, let's do it.
and go from there. I didn't give you 45.5 is the total. Eagles are favored by 3.5 on the road. So it's a nice little thought from Vegas. What do you got as a key? I'll give a key then so you have time to get your prediction together.
Yeah. My key is just the offense. Like we need to put up points, man. 2 games, 19-1 and then 13 in the other where your offense really only scored 6. Like, the offense has to get right. I think the defense is still going to give up points. It just is what it is. They're just not, with the injuries and Slay being out, Cunningham still being out. It's just going to happen. The offense should be able to go out and win you this game. Like, it shouldn't need to be that close. So that's my key, is the offense getting back to just scoring touchdowns, man. Just get the thing in the damn end zone.
Yeah. For me, it's, we keep seeing this thing of run the ball. I want them to run it better. That's the key for me. Like that. Look, yes, I want Jalen to look good. I want touchdowns for Goddard. But I want them to run the football to open up that pass game. I want people to have to come up in the box again and allow for us to not see double high safeties. I want to see single high safeties. I want one-on-ones, right? And in order to do that, they got to run the football better, and that involves that front. And we keep hearing, we haven't played to the standard. We haven't played tough. We're pissed off. Show it. Like, come out and freaking show it.
Yeah.
Stop telling us and show us. Make us believe you. Like, make us believe you. This is a team who's come out and competed against the Niners, that's come out and competed against the Cowboys. So show us that you can blow their doors off. It'd be nice for us to have a comfortable win.
It would be.
Once. Be just nice. All right, Regz, what do you got prediction-wise?
I'm going to say 31-21 Eagles.
Yeah, I got 33-20. So we're in that ballpark. Yeah, they got to win. They got to have it. I do think Jalen plays.
Yeah, I just would be up 7, run the crap out of the ball, wear the time down, get your field goal with a minute left, and just be done with it.
Yeah, and just feel happy.
Right.
And maybe we can get a turnover or two.
Or something.
Win the turnover battle for once.
Right.
After last week fumbling the ball 3 times, goodness. So, all right. Well, hey, we'll talk about it on Thursday. And we've got a lot more to talk about on Thursday. We got a basketball team who is just pissing on people right now. We've got a baseball contract that I'm angry about.
Yeah.
So we got a lot to talk about on Thursday, but we just wanted to get this out there to you. You can listen to it on your way home from work, your little preview for Monday Night Football. We both got the Birds winning, getting back on it, and then hopefully a nice little Christmas gift with back-to-back wins heading into the season. But until then, we hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Make sure you follow us on all the stuff and like us on all the things. We'll save that for Thursday. Until then, go Birds. We love you all.
Go Birds.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.